Hi everybody, it's Lynn. I want to show you today a necklace that we're going to make using only seed beads. I'm actually making this for a neighbor, but I thought it's a great opportunity to show you something really simple, something you can do with seed beads. And you can use whatever kind of seed beads you want to. It just so happens on this one I am using Toho seed beads because I have some in the colors I want. And it's going to be 5 strands altogether. I already have 4 of them done because I didn't want to spend all of our time together having you watch me put seed beads on thread. But what I have is just some nylon beading thread. You could use whatever you want, the thread of your choice. You would need some clamshell covers. I'm using just a dab of glue. I've also pulled out some cones for the end of the necklace. And as of right now, the 4 that I already have done, I have them on a jump ring. And the reason I'm doing that is just to keep the lengths kind of so I can see where I am here. And as I said, we do have one more strand to go. So I'm going to show you how I do this. I just pour my seed beads out. These are Toho transparent frost cobalt, and they're size 11 O's. Now I have my thread doubled all the way, so I pick up a seed bead, bring it all the way down to the end of the thread, and then I just tie a knot, just an overhand knot, just a normal knot, just to put that seed bead in place. Okay, like that. And then I separate the 2 end pieces and tie some more knots. Just, surgeon's knots, whatever. Overhand, whatever you want to do. Just tie several knots. And then cut off your excess tail. I'm going to show you here in just a second. Let me get 1 or 2 more. I use thread for this design because for me, beading wire makes this very stiff and I want it to be very, very fluid. So that's why I use thread instead of beading wire. Okay, now cut your tail off, not right at the knot, but real close. Okay, and then get rid of that. Now put a clamshell cover on your thread and pull it down to capture that seed bead. Okay, let it sit inside it just like that. Take your glue and put just the tiniest little drop in there. Don't get too much or it'll squish out of your clamshell and get all over your hands. Trust me. And then go ahead and close that clamshell. Just like so. Okay, don't crush it, just close it. Now what I'm going to do to help me with the length is I'm going to put that end on this jump ring to hold it in place. Got to get these other ones out of the way. Okay. I don't think we're going to leave these on this jump ring. I'm just using this as a tool to help me get the length that I need on the strand, okay? So whatever jump ring you have, you can just throw it on there for a minute. All right. Now I just stretch them out and start putting beads on. And I just pour a pile out on my mat and just start picking them up and just bring them down. And that's all we're going to do till we get to the length we want. Okay. And I feel bad I haven't put up a video for you guys in a few days. I've been busy. The neighbor that I'm making this one for wanted 3 other pieces, and I've been busy getting those done for her. So I just haven't gotten back on here. So I apologize, but we'll get back to it. Okay. And guys, all you do is just keep going, keep stringing them on there. The other thing that you can do is Obviously, you could use different size seed beads if you wanted something a little bolder. You could mix your sizes if you wanted to, do some 11s, some 8s, some 6s, whatever. I mean, you can do this with anything you want to. She had this beautiful labradorite pendant that she wanted on something, but she wasn't happy with the way it was. So I'm putting that pendant on here. I put a bail on it, and I'm putting that on here for her. And she said that this is one of her favorite styles of necklace. So we're just going to put one together for her real quick. I don't know how into seed beads you all are. I don't know how many you might have, but you do not need to use Toho or Miyuki for a project like this. It doesn't matter if you use the less expensive seed beads, because there's no need for these beads to be uniform like there is if you're doing bead weaving. If you're bead weaving a project, you need to use whatever kind of seed beads that project calls for. Because if you do use a brand that they're not real uniform, your piece may not come out right. So, you can go anywhere and buy less expensive seed beads and do this, and they are just as pretty in a project like this as anything else. So don't think twice about that. We don't always have to spend the bucks. I don't know about you guys, but I have to watch my dollars. So, okay, guys, well, you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute and get this finished stringing, and then I'll be right back and show you how to finish it up, okay? So stand by, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. All right. Okay, guys, I've got it to the length that I need it. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking another clamshell. I'm going to open it up a little bit. Not too much, but enough so that I can get my pliers or get the bead down in there. Bring that all the way down. Pick up one more seed bead. Bring that all the way down. Now cut your thread, leaving yourself tails to tie it with. Okay? All right. Now we're going to do that same thing. We're going to tie knots to secure that seed bead inside that clamshell cover. And I'm just doing surgeon's knots, right over left, left over right. And I tie 3 or 4 knots in these just to hold them in place. But when you drop that little drop of glue in there, that's going to cement it, so to speak. But, I just feel better when I tie a few knots. I want to make sure that that seed bead inside that clamshell is bulky enough so that it can't slide out. Okay, and we cut the excess of this off. All right. Take our glue and put a tiny little drop in there. I'm just using super glue for this, y'all, and I'm being real careful. I'm using the gel because it's easier to control, and being real careful that I don't get it outside that clamshell, especially on my fingers. I hate to get super glue on my fingers. Close that clamshell. Okay. Now, I have cut myself a couple of small pieces of 20 gauge wire. All I'm going to do is kind of at one end, maybe 2/3 of the way, I'm going to bend it. Just like that. All right. Now I'm going to take my clamshells and thread them on to this wire. And this works better if you can get them in the same order. It's not a huge deal if you can't. Okay, now I have all 5 of my strands on here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is bend those wires together, Bring the shorter one down, grab it, and wrap it. And this doesn't have to be perfect, y'all, because it's going to be inside the cone. Okay? Now, just flatten that wire on down, like so. Take your cone, slide it over your beads like that. Just pull that up in there as tight as you can get it. Okay? And now you just want to do a wrapped loop at the top here for your ending. Now I'm going to make it a pretty big loop. Up and over, turn your pliers around, take it to the back, and wrap. I probably should have put a bead on there just to dress it up, but I didn't, so it'll be okay. I'm just wrapping that wire on around. Okay. See? Okay. Now we're going to do the very same thing on the other end. So I'm going to take off this jump ring that I had here, holding it in place for me. I'm going to take my other wire and do the same thing. Okay. Bend it. Oops. And thread your strands on. Okay. Bring that down, close that around, wrap. Put your other cone on, pull it up tight, and do your other loop. Wrap. You probably will have to take your pliers and get in there to get this wrapped, and you just twist it around. Make that wire go where you want it. You are the boss. Okay. All right. See that beautiful labradorite there? This piece has got a great flash. Look at that. I told her that's a beautiful little stone. All right, y'all, now all we have to do is put a lobster claw on and a jump ring on, and we will have a necklace completed. And that's all there is to it, y'all. I hope you'll make yourself one of these. They are so cute. And they are easy to wear, light, and I think you would enjoy it. But that's what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? And we have some strands that are just loose. I wanted it to look very organic. So I have the pendant around 3 of them, and the other 2 are just loose. So it gets to hang the way it wants to. Okay? All right, guys. Well, that's it for this video. I do have another idea of something coming up, and I'll get to that a little later on today. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.